Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Before I start talking about Doctor Who Season 11, Season 12 and beyond, I want to tell you what kind of a Doctor Who fan I am. I'm not the Doctor Who fan who knows every single episode of Doctor Who that's ever been. I'm not an expert. So us YouTubers talk about Doctor Who a lot, but my knowledge isn't that deep. So I started watching Doctor Who in Tom Baker's very last episode when he becomes Peter Davison. I fell in love with Doctor Who via Peter Davison. I loved that show. Then I didn't enjoy Colin Baker. I didn't enjoy Sylvester McCoy, even though I believe that Sylvester McCoy's era had the best companion in Ace. I think she still is one of my favourite companions. And really, when you look at Ace, she really is everything the modern companion has ever been. And she was way beyond her time. She was amazing. So I really wasn't watching much of McCoy or Baker's era, but I know of it. I've kind of gone back and rewatched some of it, and that's why I know all about Ace. But really, the eras that I love are Peter Davison, Doctor Who the movie with Paul McGann, which I think was amazing solely for Paul McGann's performance. I don't mind Doctor Who the movie. I thought it was fun. So I wasn't butthurt by it like some fans were. And then obviously Russell T Davies gave us New Who. It was him who set the whole thing. He gave us a modern take, but it was still Doctor Who. It was still the TARDIS. It was still the Doctor and the Companion. But it was modernised. It was more emotional. It worked for 2005 and beyond. I was very pumped and very excited. That opening night we watched Rose, and then I switched over to BBC Three for Doctor Who Confidential. I was like this kid running around seeing Russell talking so passionately. They were great times. Then Stephen Moffat took over, still watched, thought it was okay. When we got to season 7, I started to lose a little bit of interest. I just didn't think that Stephen's heart was in it anymore. Capaldi was a great doctor, but he wasn't given great episodes and he wasn't given great lines, and that was a shame. And then we land on Doctor Who season 11, which, look, I'm not going to lie, I've said this a billion times before. I didn't used to go to bed at night and say, oh, I really want a female doctor. But we got a female doctor. I was willing to give Jodie Whittaker a chance because I loved her in Broadchurch. I thought her performance in The Woman Who Fell to Earth was brilliant. I really felt that is the Doctor. She's really giving us, she's giving me Doctor vibes here. Even when Capaldi regenerates into Whittaker, I'm feeling it a bit there. I am. It's a bit understated, but I thought it was cool, right? And I thought, was it the Ghost Monument that was the second episode? Again, I thought it was okay and she did well. And of course, Rosa was a very strong episode. I began to get bored from episode 4 onwards. Now, why is that? Why did it begin to become problematic? So before, when we were waiting for season 11 to arrive and they were making it, basically Chris was talking about having a writer's room. This really excited me because I've worked in writer's rooms before. I've seen bonus features of people in writers' rooms before, and it's a great way to do something. But how can you have a writer's room when you, as the showrunner, are writing most of the episodes and dictating? Now, as a showrunner, you are dictating the format and the arc, but Doctor Who Season 11 doesn't have an arc, right? It has whatever that villain is with kind of the teeth on him. I forgot his fucking name. Was it Tim something? Tim Shaw, that's right. So all you get is him in the premiere and him in the finale. That isn't an arc. It's just a recurring villain. So not having a recurring arc was a problem. I like arcs. I know a lot of people watching Doctor Who don't, but I do. I think it worked for Russell with the one-word arcs. Bad Wolf, Torchwood. What was the Master's alter ego in Harold Saxon in season 3? And then we had the stuff with the bees missing in season 4. It was great. It really worked, and it was genius because one-word arcs literally get you thinking, but they don't take up all the episodes, so you can still do your standalones. Now, Stephen Moffat really went in there with the arcs, really kind of American TV show arcs. I personally enjoyed what he did with that in season 5 and season 6. But season 11 had nothing. So when people say, oh, Jodie Whittaker isn't a great doctor, she can't do it, she hasn't got the personality. Well, I felt in The Woman Who Fell to Earth that she gave us that. She gave us that personality. Now, as I say, Chris Chibnall wrote too many episodes. He didn't allow any other voices to speak to us. And that was a problem. So from episode 4 onwards, I was a bit bored. You had Arachnids in the UK, which is a terrible, boring episode. In fact, every episode of Doctor Who season 11 after Rosa is fucking boring. It bores the shit out of me. I'm going to be honest. And that's nothing to do with Jodie Whittaker. That's about the creative process. Let me talk to you what I think should have happened. I was very compelled and excited that from no choice of their own, these 3 companions were dragged along with the Doctor floating in space. I thought that would have been something very interesting. And I believe that for the whole season, they should have been trapped in space and time, travelling around with the Doctor and not able to go home. And the arc of that and the kind of dynamic of those 3 companions with the Doctor is, you've dragged us along somewhere. Because of meeting you, we're stuck in space and time. So there's this bitterness towards the Doctor from these companions. They get to know her, they like her, but they're still like, we want to go home. We didn't make this decision. For me, that's very interesting. As a writer, as a storyteller, that excites me. But the problem with these companions, the dynamic between themselves isn't very interesting. They don't have any chemistry. Now, what they do when they cast people, in auditions they put them together and they do something called, it's kind of like to see if they've got chemistry together. Now, I don't believe any of these 4 actors have got any chemistry together. You've got Eccleston and Piper, brilliant chemistry. Piper and Tennant, brilliant chemistry. Obviously, the 11th Doctor and Amy Pond, great chemistry. The same with Rory, right? Really, really, really works. Even with Cara, was it Cara? I can't bloody remember her. What's her bloody name? Jenna Coleman's character. My mind's shit anyway. Clara, shit, what's wrong with me? Anyway, right, Clara, Jenna Coleman and Matt Smith, great chemistry. Jenna Coleman and Capaldi, great chemistry. Again, in Capaldi's final season, again, he's got great chemistry with his companion. But the 13th Doctor doesn't have that. It seemed really lazy to me that there wasn't even an effort to cast people with chemistry together, right? So, as I say, the first 3 episodes, I was happy with Whittaker. I thought she was going well, and I thought she would only get better. But then the attitude changed, and the kind of, I've got no other words, a kind of explanation to say it, but the SJW stuff really came out strong. I don't believe Rosa is an SJW episode. I think it's a very good episode. It's a really good historic episode, and it works for me. But after that, the quality of the storytelling and the character development for the Doctor really went down the pan. And as I said, it was fucking boring. Now we leap to season 12. We're hearing a lot of shit about season 12. The main one that's really triggering me is this rumour of a musical episode. I don't like musical episodes of anything. I don't want to see a musical episode of Doctor Who, and it's really disappointing. I kind of feel now that Doctor Who isn't for me, isn't for people who grew up with Doctor Who, isn't for my age group. Maybe it's not even for my gender anymore. I don't know, and they're doing this on purpose. But it is a good business. You want as many people to watch. So you want young people to watch it so they can buy, the stuff like the toys and, the DVDs and Blu-rays, because you believe that young people have got more of a disposable income. So you want to make this a show for younger people, but with the fat, original, hardcore fans watching this thing. I believe right now, if the BBC haven't got the passion to make awesome Doctor Who, they should either sell it or give it a break. Because I am so tired of this whole thing. I'm so tired of sitting here, not looking forward to Doctor Who, being devoured so much by mediocrity. It's what happened with Star Wars and The Last Jedi. They did something that made it so uninteresting. And who can imagine that I would ever be uninterested in Star Wars, for Christ's sake? But Rian Johnson was able to do that. And Chris Chibnall has done it with Doctor Who. He's done it in a way where I just don't care about Doctor Who anymore. I can't even bring myself to rewatch the show from when it was good under Russell T Davies or the Peter Davison era. I've got all those episodes, but there's something inside of me, the love, the flame that was burning strong when I watched that first Russell T Davies episode, Rose. That excitement has gone. I'm not feeling it anymore. No doubt I'll watch it. I'll watch it out of habit, out of loyalty, but that's it. I kind of feel that Doctor Who's dead now. I don't feel there's any way back for the show, not with this mentality the BBC have. And until they decide to make awesome Doctor Who again and bring in a great showrunner, I don't mind if Whittaker stays, because I think she proved in The Woman Who Fell to Earth that she could be a great Doctor. But unfortunately, as I said, from episode 4 onwards, there was nothing. So I want you to tell me what you think of Doctor Who right now. I want you to tell me when you started watching Doctor Who. I'm very interested in my fellow Doctor Who fans. So please comment down below, like, share, and subscribe, of course. And I'll be back in the next video. I thought I'd do a Doctor Who video anyway, because I haven't done one for so long, and I just wanted, after a break from it, to kind of reevaluate my thoughts on season 11 and what's going on with season 12. But from what I'm hearing with season 12, I'm not very, very hopeful that we're going to get an improvement on what we got. And that's a shame, but that's where television and film is going right now. And as I say, that's tragic.